Organism and populations. So here the first we get the definition. Ecology, the study of interaction among organisms and between the organism and its physical or a biotic environment. Ecology is concerned with four levels of biological organization. This is the question again. Ecology is concerned with four levels of biological organization. That is organism, group of organism we say population, and group of populations we call community, and communities with in a particular area we can say biome. So let's start the chapter organisms and its environment. Here this is a diagram that we need to focus here. Organism and its environment. Here physiological ecology. Ecology at the organism level explains how different organisms are adapted to their environments in terms of survival and reproduction. Then rotation of the earth and tilt of its axis causes annual variations in temperature and seasons. Major biomes like desert, rainforest, tundra are formed due to these variations only. And precipitation. That means here in a particular area, when we talk about in a particular area, that temperature and the variations will be decided in what point of view. That simply we say at equator. What is that equator? Temperature is going to be high, isn't it? Temperature high at equator. Moving from the equator to the pole and pole to the equator, moving from the equator to the pole, temperature decreases. Pole to the equator, temperature increases, and seasonal variation, and rain and snow, we call precipitation. These are all going to decide the Earth atmosphere and Earth flora and fauna. Earth flora and fauna, what type of organisms are present. This is an indication here. You can see a diagram here. Mean annual precipitation on one axis and mean annual temperature on another axis. You'll take X and Y axis. Mean annual precipitation. That means rainfall. Major is rainfall along with the snow. You need to understand. You see, first of all, let us see the desert. You see here the desert is given vertically. That means here the mean annual precipitation is very, very low. That means you need to study this particular diagram. Mean annual precipitation is very, very low. Observe the desert. Mean annual precipitation is less than 50, isn't it? So that's why it became desert. Temperatures are also high range from 5 to 20 degrees centigrade average we are talking about. That temperature ranges it is having, that is a desert. Let us see the contrast item. The mean annual precipitation of the this particular tropical forest, if we see here, the mean annual precipitation is in between. We should see like this. I hope you may see that how to see the graph, you know. So mean annual precipitation, it is nearly 152. Means these calculations won't come in examination, but how the rainfall and temperature are influencing, that you can see here. How the temperature and rainfall are influencing. So the mean annual precipitation of the tropical forest, you can see here. And temperature is almost near to the desert, but what we can say, tropical forest is having flora and fauna hues. This volume explains that how the tropical flora and fauna is have that present. Okay, so temperature is constant, we can see, nearly constant, but rainfall is maximum, we can see here. Maximum rainfall you can see in the tropical rainforest. The remaining coniferous forest, we can see the temperature ranges and that rainfall is enough good is there. Temperate forest, grassland is given. So that means you have to look up individually how that particular biome distribution with respect to annual temperature and precipitation. Any doubts in this diagram? Diagram is going to be question for us. Then regional and local variations within a biome lead to the formation of different habitats. Life exists even in extreme harsh habitats like Rajasthan desert, rain-soaked Meghalaya forest. That means question will be asked here like that. Rain-soaked forests are present in India at Meghalaya. Deep ocean trenches, torrential streams, polar region, high mountain tops, thermal springs, compost pit. Everywhere you can see the life. Our intestine also a habitat of many microbes, we can say. The physico-chemical abiotic components like water, light, temperature, and soil are going to be the physico-chemical abiotic components, and biotic components like pathogen, parasite, predators, competitors. We have to discuss all these things in population ecology, lead to variation of different habitats. Now moving on to the abiotic factors. When it comes to the abiotic factor, the first is temperature, then water, then light, soil. Then we'll discuss about the pressure also after the. So let's discuss about the temperature. Most ecologically relevant environmental factor is temperature. This is the question. Most ecologically relevant environmental factor is, will be asked like that. Most ecologically relevant environmental factor is temperature. The temperature on land varies seasonally. It gradually decreases from equator towards the poles and from plains to mountain tops. It ranges from sub-zero levels in polar areas and high altitudes to that more than 50 degrees centigrade in tropical deserts, which talking about the temperature. Average temperature in thermal springs and deep sea hydrothermal vents exceed 100 degrees centigrade. And seasonal biome, that means seasonal and location wise also, flora can be expected over. In certain countries, some plants will not grow. We have example here. The mango trees cannot grow in temperate countries like Canada and Germany. Mango tree require tropical atmosphere. There is no snow leopard in Kerala forest. Snow leopard is there in the name. So why it is not there in Kerala forest? We can say that tuna fishes are rare beyond tropical latitudes in the ocean. Everything, every line is a question here. Mango trees cannot grow in temperate countries like Canada and Germany. That's the question. Then snow leopard in India. That means in snow leopard in India is not there in Kerala forest. Particularly in whole India, it is not there. The tuna fishes are rare at tropical latitudes in the ocean. So likewise, the questions will come. Then temperature affects kinetics of engine, basal metabolism, and other physiological functions of the organism. Let's talk about them. Based on the range of thermal tolerance, organisms are of two types. Those organisms which can tolerate the wide range of temperature fluctuations, we can call them as eurythermal organisms. We can say them as eurythermal organisms. The organisms which cannot tolerate the temperature fluctuations can be called as stenothermal organisms. Which cannot tolerate the temperature fluctuations are called stenothermal organisms. The second most important factor, we said temperature is the first. Then a question will be asked in that manner only. First important factor, the temperature. Second most important abiotic factor influencing the life of organisms is water. Life on Earth originated in the water itself 3 billion years ago. Desert organisms have special adaptations to limited water. That means water scarcity conditions they are living. That's why desert organisms have special adaptation that we are seeing in Opensia and in the desert animal camel. Productivity and distribution of the plants is dependent on water. Water is more, plants are more. The plants will be widely distributed over. For aquatic organisms, the water quality, chemical composition, and pH is important. The salt concentration, salinity in parts per thousand is called salt concentration, which is 5% in inland water. It's same in that manner we are going to get the question. 5% in inland water. The percentage of salinity ranges in inland water. Next, 30 to 35% in the sea. 30 to 35% in the sea. Then more than 100% you can see in the hypersaline lagoons where salinity ranges are going to be high. So need to remember these percentages here. 5% in inland water, 30 to 35% in the sea, oceans. And here again, two more definitions. Based on the salinity fluctuations, we have euryhaline and stenohaline organisms. Organisms which can tolerate the salinity fluctuations are called euryhaline. Then wide range of salinity fluctuation. Organism which cannot tolerate the salinity fluctuations. Text language tolerate wide range of salinity, euryhaline. Those who tolerate only a narrow range of salinity, stenohaline. A freshwater animal, if you drop in the marine water, it will die. Or a marine water animal, if you drop in the fresh water, it will die. So why? Because they are stenohaline organisms. They can't tolerate more salinity fluctuations. Moving on to the light, the plants need sunlight for photosynthesis. That we know, which is a very important factor. It is. The small forest plants like herbs and shrubs are adapted photosynthesize optimally under very low light. Why? Because they are overshadowed by tall canopy trees. They are overshadowed by canopy. What is canopy? If a bigger tall tree is present, so that covers the light not to come more. So that we are talking about that particular organisms who are canopied by these bigger trees, that which are canopy. It means this is the canopy shade, we can say. Okay, so they're canopied. That's why these particular organisms are adapted to photosynthesize to produce the food under low light conditions, even again, because that is adaptation. They made it over. Many plants depend on sunlight for photoperiodism. We discussed about the photoperiodism, the time period present between the sunrise to sunset. We say photoperiodism. There only I said long day plants which flower only during summer, short day plants which flower during winter season. And many animals use the diurnal and seasonal variations in light intensity and photo period for timing their foraging. Foraging means food collection. Organism for foraging they are using. Some comes during night time. What do you say? Nocturnal. Some comes during daytime for food collection. What do you say them as? Diurnal. And for reproductive activities, for migratory activities, organisms are using that light variations, presence or absence of the light. Sun is the ultimate source for the light and temperature on the land. The deep, more than 500 meters below in the ocean, the environment is dark and there is no energy available from sun. The spectral quality of the solar radiation is also important for life. The UV spectrum is harmful to many organisms. Not all the color components of the visible spectrum are available for marine plants. Spectral quality of solar radiation is also important for life. The UV spectrum is harmful to many organisms. We practically shown UVC, UVB, UVA. UVC is harmful there. Not all the color components of the visible spectrum available for marine plants, because light based on their the wavelengths it enters inside. So that's why we can say not all the wavelengths are going to be available. Okay, so that we have to discuss. And next, moving on to the soil, that very small area, but questions are there. Very, very important in examination, neat examination point of view. Nature, properties of the soil is differed due to the climate and weathering process. See the line again. Nature and properties of the soil is differed due to the climate and weathering process. Sedimentation, method of soil development. Four aspects you have to remember. It is climate, weathering process, sedimentation, and method of soil development. Then soil composition, grain size, and aggregation determine the percolation and water holding capacity of the soil. Soil composition, grain size, aggregation, and determine the percolation and water holding capacity of the soil. These characteristics and parameters like pH, mineral composition, topography determine the vegetation and animals in an area. That means here, for example, which we discussed earlier, like in desert, the grain size is very, very bigger one. That what do you say? Grain size, if it is bigger, cannot hold the water. If cannot hold the water, no growth of the plant. If no plants, Animals also going to be less, herbivores. So in that way, okay. Okay, what is percolation, which is the most asked question by the students here, that if we replace the percolation, the slow passage of the liquid through a filtering medium, we can say general meaning of that, the slow passage of the liquid in a filtering medium, we can say percolation, general meaning. When it comes to the water angle, you have to remember percolation of water means the slow movement of water through the pores in soil or permeable rock. Okay, on the rock, percolation is comparatively less. That means here is just simply we can say like when you are pouring some water on in your pond, that means small area, that in your surrounding area, even you are pouring some water to the plants. So when observe them when you are moving, when you are uh, when you're giving water to the particular plants, here this soil, how it absorbs, that is called percolation capacity. Okay, for a sand, if you pour water, do they absorb that particular water? Do they retain the water? What do you call that as a percolation capacity of the desert area or sand is comparatively less. Okay, moving on. When it comes to the aquatic environment, the sediment characteristics determine the type of benthic animal. You can see here in marine water also we can say benthic. What is the benthic one? The deepest portion, that means the bottom of the sea, is also having some composition of the soil. So when we are talking about the soil, that we should talk about marine water also, where benthic animals. That means effect of soil composition is going to be affected. That the benthic organisms, those organisms who are living in that bottom of the sea, we can say. Okay. Next, moving on. Responses to the abiotic factor. Here we are going in NCERT order now. Till the time we explained everything clearly, that now in NCERT order we are going. Organisms maintain a constant internal environment. That what do you call it as homeostasis, maintenance of temperature and water. Temperature and water, both. When an organism like human being is trying to maintain temperature balance and water balance, we can say human maintaining homeostasis, like that. This is possible by following process: regulate, confirm, migrate. So homeostasis maintenance we are talking now. Then suspend. First of all, let's talk about the regulate. Regulate, it's there in the name. We are trying to regulate. So how we are trying to regulate? What is our body temperature? Our body temperature is 37 degrees centigrade, which we are homeothermic animal, which we need to maintain the body temperature constant. Constant body temperature maintenance is required for us. So how we are going to regulate? That there is a photograph. We can see when temperature increases, what we do? We sweat. You can see here. When temperature decreases, what we do? We shiver. That at least we maintain our body temperature constant. So that what you can say, the physiological and behavioral means maintenance of homeostasis by physiological and behavioral. It ensures the constant body temperature like thermoregulation, regulation, control of what? Temperature. Constant osmotic concentration like osmoregulation means water balance. Both we can say homeostasis. In all birds and mammals, and very few lower vertebrates and invertebrates are maintaining this regulate condition. They are maintaining temperature and they are maintaining water balance. Thermoregulation in mammals. The success of mammals is mainly due to their ability to maintain a constant body temperature. Success of mammal is mainly due to their ability to maintain a constant body temperature. In summer, when the outside temperature is more than body temperature, that means 37 degrees is our body temperature. If more than our body temperature is there, we sweat. This results in evaporative cooling and brings down our body temperature back again. In winter, when the temperature is below 37 degrees centigrade, we shiver, and which we produce the heat and raises our body temperature. In that particular context, we are maintaining our body temperature constant. Okay. So then, this by looking towards this, we can understand thermoregulation is an energetically expensive process that, especially for small animals like shrews and hummingbirds, we are managed. But shrews and hummingbirds, we should understand here, a organism to maintain the body temperature, the volume of organism should be more. As long as the volume increases over, temperature also, it can able to produce more. But when you take a mammal and a bird, like shrews and hummingbirds, these are small sized animals which cannot produce more heat. Living in tropical area, there is no problem to them. But when they want to live at poles where very, very low temperatures are present, their small size and more surface area do not permit to live that particular. When we accommodate there, what happens? They have a larger surface area relative to their body volume. So they lose body heat very fast in the when it is cold outside. Then they have to expend much energy to generate body heat. That's the reason actually why very small animals are rare in polar region. Whatever the animals at pole definitely have large size to produce more heat. 99% of the animals and nearly all plants cannot maintain a constant internal environment. And this graph is very, very, very important. This red line shows body temperature, internal level of organisms like aves and mammal, which are considered as regulator, which is constant always, irrespective of external level. Then when it comes to the conformer, you see the green line, the temperature of conformers will change based on internal level, changed on based on the external level. Okay. Then the third one we'll discuss now, their body temperature, that 99%, except aves and mammals, 99% of the animals, nearly all plants, cannot maintain constant internal environment. Their body temperature or osmotic concentration change with the surrounding condition. They are called conformers, poikilothermic or cold-blooded, we can say. In aquatic animals, osmotic concentration of body fluid changes with that of ambient osmotic concentration that we are seeing in freshwater and marine water condition. How does the body fluids are going to change with their surrounding environment? So in that, migrate is the third aspect here. We are seeing regulate, we are seeing confirm, then migrate. One of the best example on the screen now, Siberian crane, which migrates thousands of kilometers when winter season to escape from the winter season of their respective area. Many animals like birds move away temporarily from stressful habitat to a more hospitable area and return back when the stressful period, that means when winter season, when stressful period is over, they'll come back. That in our area during winter, Kaladio Ghana National Park, Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary, which is there located in Rajasthan, host many migratory birds coming from Siberia and other extremely cold northern region. From there, travel thousands of kilometers, will come to India, Rajasthan, Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary. One of the example for migration. Then suspend is the fourth aspect, responses to the abiotic factor. In bacteria, fungi, and lower plants, thick walled spore. Question will be asked in that manner. Thick walled spores are present in bacteria, in fungi, and lower plants. Thick walled spores are helped to survive unfavorable condition. Under suitable condition, when appears, they get germinate back again. And in higher plants, seeds and some vegetative reproductive structure serves to tide over periods of stress by reducing their metabolic activity. Then when favorable conditions appear, they germinate under favorable moisture and favorable temperature. We can say till the time they suspend their life activities. Animal examples, hibernation of bears. So hibernation of bears. Should I remember the examples? During winter, estivation of snails and fishes. We know frog perform both, but you should remember individual examples. Bears example for hibernation is given. Some snails and fishes are given for that estivation, summer sleep. Hibernation called winter sleep. And diapause. What is pause? Pause means a stage of suspended development for a period of time. Many zooplanktons in lakes and ponds will go for diapause. More adaptations can see on the screen. Camel, the desert condition you see here, that hump we use it to say, you don't find fat anywhere in the body, only in the hump region. That's why it can control its temperature ranges 34 to 41 degrees. And opentia, you can see there, that opentia, that spines as leaves are modified into spines. We'll discuss. Adaptation is a morphological, physiological, behavioral attribute that enables an organism to survive and reproduce in its habitat. Many adaptations are evolved over a long evolutionary time, not in a single day. It will take longer period of time to adapt to the surrounding environment. One of the famous, that is kangaroo rat, which is there in the North American desert, where it doesn't drink water at all. But then how that water will be supplied to them? Internal fat oxidation, breaking the that oxidation, fat oxidation, it gives some water as a byproduct, and there is no external source of water to them. Not available, and they don't drink even, because adapted to utilize what small amount of water, whatever released in the fat oxidation, and ability to concentrate urine so that minimal volume of the water is used to remove excretory products. These two are the very, very important factors during, with due respect to the kangaroo rat. We get these questions in NEET examination. Talking about Opentia on the screen now, the thick cuticle and leaf surfaces. In some, their stomata are arranged in deep pits to minimize water loss through transpiration. Means, desert any plants particularly, that they have a thick cuticle and leaf surfaces because not to lose the water. The stomata are arranged in deep pits to minimize water loss. Which is that what do you call the special photosynthetic pathway, that CAM mechanism, cross-Leachman acid metabolism pathway, that enables their stomata to remain closed during daytime. They open only during nighttime to release the carbon dioxide in bulk amounts. And our opentia, talking about the opentia, no leaves at all the leaves are modified into spines, which photosynthesis done by modified stem might have lent over in adaptations of plants. Now some rules. Mammals from colder climates have shorter ears, not to lose the heat from the body, and limbs. You see here a polar animal, very, very short limbs and very short ears. We call this is a Allen's rule. Why they have short ears? To reduce the heat loss. Aquatic mammals like seals have a thick layer of fat. Below the skin, they have a thick layer of fat, blubber we say, that acts as an insulator, which reduces the loss of body heat. So some physiological and biochemical adaptations that we have to talk about. Archaebacteria are found in hot springs and deep sea hydrothermal vents where temperature is more than 100 degrees centigrade. Even many fishes thrive in Antarctic water where the temperature is below, very, very below. Anglerfish, we can say. No need to remember the example. Many marine invertebrates and fishes live at great depths in the ocean where the pressure is more than 100 times than normal atmospheric pressure. In ocean, there for every 10 meter, 1 atmosphere pressure is going to be increased. So talking about the high altitude places, why? That because oxygen binding capacity with the hemoglobin, because of low oxygen pressure, is going to be affected over. Okay, so that's why. Altitude sickness we face. Where symptoms include nausea, heart palpitation, fatigue likewise. This is due to low atmospheric pressure. So the body does not get enough oxygen. So gradually we acclimatize the situation and the body compensate low oxygen availability by increasing the number of RBC. We call this particular feature as a polycythemia. The people who are going to settle down there, that they exhibit a condition called polycythemia, which means increasing number of RBC. And we increase the breath rate, decreasing because of binding capacity of hemoglobin is much reduced over. We increase the breath rate and we make some polycythemia condition. Now, the lizard basking under the sun on the screen now. A desert lizards, they don't have a special mechanism to produce the heat. That what they do then? They bask in the sun and absorb heat. When their body temperature is low, they go to the sun and they bask under the sun. What is basking is there on the screen now. And when adequate temperature they got, they go into the shades when ambient temperature starts increasing. Some species are capable of burrowing into the soil to hide and escape from the above ground heat. Earthworm is one of the best example. Okay, so this is all about organism. In the population, organism and population chapter, that organisms we are completed. Then we have to move towards the population ecology. Population ecology.